Hi, in today's video I'm gonna try to demonstrate a different way, one of the many different sort of ways for removal of the surface mount components, being a chip or a surface mount or the package immaterial or connector or sort of capacitors, resistors and so on. Okay, now in a previous video, I did also sort of surface mount removal, but with the induction heater, which you put at the bottom or on top of the board. Depends where the component is and how you want to actually heat up the solder and the actual chip or surface mount component or a plug or a socket that you want removed for instantaneous removal. Nonetheless, this is one of the also very useful sort of ways, and just about anybody will be able to do it, provided you use, let me just zoom out, sort of similar components that I'm going to be using and similar procedure, of course, watching this video. And then it becomes very simple, as you will see it. Okay, the very first step would be, okay, I will use isopropanol, which is over here, and I will use the cotton bud dip it, and I have already cleaned the board, so the board is very clean. Okay, then the second step would be I would use another cotton bud, and then I would let me just zoom out. Okay, let me just see. It doesn't matter. Okay, liquid flux, which my liquid bottle is over there, dispenser. So I'm just gonna soak it in, and then I will apply the solder. The flux to the actual chip, because chip I want removed. So you can see I'm quite generous with the liquid flux. Okay, and then it's no problem. It cannot make a shot and it evaporates very fast, but it's very essential to have it. And I apply it all across the chip, not just on the legs. Okay. Then the second step would be using, let me just zoom out, using our special paste, okay, which I really like. I only recently started sort of distributing, and it's a fairly good. We do sell it, so it's not a problem. All these items we can supply. I'm going to actually use it. Let me just zoom again. So what I do is, again, I use a toothpick or a brush or whatever, sort of works for you. Okay, I'm just going to zoom it, and then you can actually see how I actually apply it. Now, you can see I apply it not only on the pins, but also all over the chip. And being all over the chip, for a simple reason, because this particular paste promotes the even sort of distribution of heat. So maybe I want to remove this chip from wherever board and put it somewhere else. And so I want to reuse it. I don't want I want heat to basically disperse evenly, not just on the legs, and give it a thermal stress on the components inside the chip. So once the paste is there, then the next step would be, let me just zoom out, next step, okay, let me just do it. Okay, next step is I'm going to use a special solder for removal of the chips and surface mount components or any component of plugs or sockets. It's called a quick solder, and we've got two different types. We got one which is quick solder, a solder wire, and then we got also a quick fix solder, but it's comes like in a bar. And this time I'm going to use a bar and just quickly sort of demonstrate for you how it's actually done. Okay, once that, before I actually apply the quick fix, this one or that one, makes no difference. Of course, you have to have a soldering iron, which is very clean. Although this is a very good tip or whatever. Okay, now my sponge is also over there where the solder station is, but nonetheless, say I'm going to use to wipe it off as much as I can. And then I'm going to use a special jar that I have got. You can start smoking. Okay, what it does, it actually pretends the actual solder. And then what I do is I apply the solder to it. And you can see solder sticks to the actual tip. Because due to the temperature, it will oxidize and it will, and the solder, if it doesn't stick, it will not be able to transfer the heat to the components where you're doing the job. And one more time, I will just wipe it off with a semi-wet sponge. Okay, now we're going to that part where I'm going to apply the solder, and watch now what actually happens. As I said, don't panic, because it's going to look like a mess, but it's actually not a mess. It's a sort of controlled mess. And what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to basically fill up all these legs with this sort of tiny little bar that I have. And watch now how easy it actually melts. So watch it now. I run it to the bottom. And I run it to the bottom. And use very little. You can see. Okay, I applied it to one side. Okay, you can see. Let me just do it properly. Okay. There we go. And before I even say 1, 2, 3, you can actually see it. It's already coming off. Now that it's becoming like a liquid solder. So I removed it. And here it is. Here is the chip. And it's perfect. No legs damaged or anything like that. Okay, I'll show it to you now. Okay. Although it looks like a mess over here, that's not the problem. Okay. Because what we do is, the next sort of stuff that I'm going to use, it's called a solder wick, to remove that excess solder. And you could see actually how fast I removed that chip. This solder bar, or this quick wick solder, basically melted instantaneously, heat up all the solder, on the pins, and within like 3-4 seconds, or sometimes depends on the number of the pins and many other sort of factors, it can take much longer. You just got to sort of keep on going with the soldering iron. But nonetheless, in this sort of demo, you just removed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again take and I'm going to apply. Okay, I'm going to apply as much as I can, wherever, because as I said, it will do no harm. And then let me zoom it out again. Zoom in, should I say. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to suck this excess solder. You can actually see it. Okay, there you go. It becomes clean straight away within split seconds. Okay, I'm going to apply a little bit more flux. As I said, even over here, it can do no harm. Okay, again I do the other side. Look at it, just picks it up just because of the flux. Instantaneously you remove the actual excess solder without heating up the pads too much or heating up a board and damaging surround components. Now I just flattened all the pins. Okay, I do repeat the procedure on this side also. And that's it. Basically, you can actually see. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, zoom it. Now, again, I'm going to use the isopropanol. Okay, I'm just using, camera has zoomed quite a bit, but I'm using the isopropanol now. Okay, and isopropanol cleans microscopically, and it cannot do any harm to the actual board or to any component or anything like that. It's actually very good stuff. And then, of course, what we usually do is we use a lot of toilet paper, and I just sort of, soak in the extra rubbish, the toilet paper, because it's porous and it picks it up. I just repeat the procedure one more time, that it's shiny, and that's it. So that's basically what it is. It is, I don't know if you can really see it sort of clear. I hope it is properly in focus and things like that, because it's difficult to solder and to... Now, what I'm going to do is, before I do fit a new chip, what we do is we deposit a little bit of solder. Of course, before I deposit, again, I'm going to use the actual flux, the solder paste, solder superior paste that we actually, that I like, and that we of course sell to the customers also. Okay, so again, I'm going to be generous, okay, and then what I do is I apply a little bit of solder, okay, on the pads. You can see, okay, a little bit of solder, not too much, just a little. I spray that solder that's actually on the tip, and that's it. It is done. Okay, I have successfully removed the actual chip. So now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use the cotton bud with isopropanol and clean it, remove, you know, so it becomes clear, so one can see it and one can... Okay, there we go. And that's it. Again, I use a bit of a toilet paper to soak in, you know, all around, all the rubbish and the paste and everything that's sort of around. Of course, I make sure, of course, we use a microscopes on the bench. So for me, it's very easy to zoom in to see much more than what I'm actually zooming with the camera alone. So that's basically what it is. And voila, there it is. I have removed. Now let me show you the actual chip. Okay, now here is the chip. Okay, the legs are, okay, now I just got to focus onto the chip. Let me, okay, the legs are 100%. They're not damaged in any way. Let me just remove. Okay, that's just from a brush. Okay, now I can actually, let me zoom out so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm just gonna, with isopropanol again. Okay, I'm just gonna wash the chip. Okay, there we go. If there is any residue or any solder, like in this case right now, there is a little blob on one of the legs, but it's immaterial. I will remove it. Okay, I'm not going to try to zoom it because okay, I'm holding a soldering iron, so I'm just gonna, there we go. Okay, now all the legs are basically flat. There is no solder stuck to the chip or anything like it, and it's ready for refitment. So that's basically what it is. And in a part 2, I will show you how I actually now fit this chip back. Okay. Of course, try avoiding touching the legs and things like that. Of course, my bench is fully anti-static because my whole environment is anti-static. So I can afford to touch it, but try not, because not many people have a anti-static machine to create anti-static environment. So try not to touch the legs as much as I do. But me, I can touch it because I'm static free. And then now I will apply the paste. And then once I apply the paste, I position the chip. And then again, I can use either hot air gun or I can use just the ordinary and then solder quickly. And that I'll do in part 2. Basically today what I have demonstrated is the power of the paste, okay? The power of the pre-cleaning turning solution for the actual tip, so the solder sticks. And I have showed you that I use the liquid flux and isopropanol. And then of course I used a special quick fix solder, which we sell it as a solder wire or a solder little bar. That actually it's used for removal of the components. And I hope you learned, and if you follow these procedures and you've got this basic stuff, you can do even 54 penna or even 200 penna chip, tap it in, or do the actual maybe reballing of the chips at the bottom. Yeah, on that note, till the next video, which I'm gonna try and sort of solder this sort of chip back on this board. That's gonna be part number 2. Thank you watching Batos Radio and TV SMD removal demo. Thank you.